my channel, or if you're not new, hi, welcome. So in today's video, we are going to be doing a fun crochet with me while I make some wall hanging tapestries. I kind of went a little bit overboard. I ended up making 6 different tapestries that you're going to see in today's video. They were supposed to be on the fall/Halloween aesthetic. You'll start to see that they kind of were more Halloween based, but I'm not mad about it. Fall is my favorite season, Halloween is my favorite holiday, so anything I can do to kind of get started into like that area, I'm always excited to do. If you guys want to remake any of these tapestries for yourself, I'm going to link down my Pinterest board. That's going to have the grids for the ones that I made, and it's also going to have a bunch of other ones. When I'm scrolling through later on in this video on Pinterest and you see the other ones that I didn't make, if you guys want to make them, they're all in that board down there. So if you want to make them, then they're right there for you. I want to say that I would make a part 2 making more of them, but after making 6 different tapestries over the course of these like couple days that you're going to see in this video, I honestly kind of was done with tapestry crochet. You can kind of see one of them in the background, I think, a little bit, because now they're hanging on my wall, because I'm filming this after the fact of me filming everything else and editing everything else, because I filmed this video a little bit differently. It's more of a like crochet with me, how did I crochet these type of video, so it's a little bit of a different format. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed, and then if you did like it, that you will like the video and comment down below any other crochet video ideas you want to see from me in the future. And if you guys want to see my fall crochet wardrobe series that I'm working on, or just see more crochet related content, if you could subscribe, because I have a lot more crochet content coming out very, very soon. If you don't want to miss it, then subscribing is the best way to not miss out on it. But yeah, I'm not going to hold you guys here any longer. We have a lot of crocheting in this video, so relax, get a coffee, get a drink, get a snack, or get your latest crochet piece, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started in this video.
Starting off with the spiderweb one, I did some math and figured out that there are 50 stitches going across, but I decided I wanted to add 2 onto each side of the graph, just so that way it has more of the black and not just the spiderweb on that edging. That came out to 54 stitches in total, but I decided that I was going to do 54 plus a chain of 1 for my starting chain. These were the yarns that I decided to use. They're both from Paintbox in this gray color and this white color, and a 4.5mm crochet hook. This is the one I'm going to use for all my projects. I started off with a slip knot with the gray yarn and chained to that 54 plus the extra one that we're going to use for the turning. It looked a little bit like this, and going in, like I said, I did an extra chain, so I'm actually going to go into the second stitch and doing single crochets down the entire chain. It does take a little bit of getting the hang of it. This is probably my least favorite part of starting a project, just because it's a tedious process, but it came out looking like this in the end. And I did a little bit more math, figuring out that instead of 24, I was going to need 26, because we're adding the 2 on each side. And so for starting my second chain, each one, I never chain 1 when it comes to my tapestries, just because I don't like the way that the edge looks. I just simply turn my work without a chain and go directly into that very first single crochet stitch from the last row, and make sure it is the first stitch. And I always try to count my stitches at first, especially when I'm starting a project, to make sure that it's correct, and just worked single crochets down the entire length until it was time to color change. Once I got to the color change, I grabbed my white and dealt with this mess. After untangling it though, it was time to do my last gray stitch, pull up my yarn to the front, and I made a slip knot with my white yarn, because I like to do a slip knot so that way it is a little bit more secure and it just makes it easier. Pull through and finish that last stitch. Then I like to weave in both the gray and that white tail when I do my single crochet, so it looks like this. This was after 1 row. I just worked it up, keep on going, working, following the graph, making sure that I was crossing off as I went, so I knew exactly where I was supposed to be and I didn't lose my place. Last night I just kept on working, and I got all of this done last night. This is how much is left on the graph. I think it's like 11 rows. This is huge though. I really underestimated how big a graph was going to be, because looking at this graph, I did not think it was going to be that big. But I really like it. There's like a couple little things like where like the yarn stitches are, but that's how it's supposed to be in the pattern. It gives it that like spider web look. I really do like that I chose the gray and the white because it really looks like a spider web. This took a very long time though. I want to say I worked for like 4 or 5 hours on this. I forgot how long tapestry crochet takes, but it's okay because I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm also a little worried that there's not going to be enough gray yarn to finish. There should be, hopefully. There's obviously going to be enough white, but this was basically a full skein of the gray as well. And I mean, there's still a good amount left, but I've been worried this entire time since it started to get smaller. So we used a lot of it obviously down here. There's not a huge amount up here with this like big block area, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. Then it was time to add the chain up at the top here so that it can actually be a wall hanging. Going into that right hand corner right where I was, I just chained however many I felt it needed. The way I decided that it looked right was just holding it up like this and putting it where it was going to attach to, stepping back and seeing if I liked it. Then going in on the left hand side into that very last single crochet, I did a single crochet on top of it instead of doing a slip stitch. This way it will be a little bit more sturdy and hold up, and from a distance you can't even actually tell that it's a single crochet. Then I just fastened off, cut off my yarn, and just like that it was complete. Then it was just time to weave in the ends, and the first tapestry was complete. And now it is finally done. I feel like I've been working on this forever the last 2 days, but I underestimated just how big it was gonna be. I like the fact that I did the whole single crochet up at the top so that it will have some sturdiness. It still slants a lot when I put it on, but I think if I block it and whatever, it would be fine properly. What I'm gonna probably do is just put little pins into the top when I hang it. It'll be fine. I was worried about the gray yarn. There's plenty of the white left, but I had all of this still left with the gray, which yeah, is not a lot of gray left, but I was like worried like, ooh, I'm gonna be like playing yarn chicken with it. Nope, I had plenty still left over. This is probably one of the bigger ones I'm gonna do of the video, and it is the first one. Wasn't planning on that happening, but we'll see what happens. You guys will already know by like the thumbnail and things like that what we do, but I have no idea just yet. I want to do kind of like a smaller one, so maybe we'll go with this one. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with this one. I'm gonna do the little tiny ghost one because all I need is black, white, like maybe a creamy-ish color, and then 2 little background colors. Here's the colors that I'm gonna try to narrow down a little bit. For the background, I'm actually gonna do these 2 blue colors. I really do like the like purpley, like indigo-ish color. I just don't have those colors in my stash, so these were the closest that I had, which honestly I think kind of give like Coraline vibes. But for the moon, it's kind of hard to tell because my camera's not wanting a camera today, but the moon and these little stars are kind of like a creamy color. So I have this like pale yellow that I never know what I'm going to use for. Or I also have this left over from whenever I was going to do the sunflower bag in one of my videos. I kind of feel like this one fits better. And obviously I have black and white. This one also is a little bit more tinier. We'll get into the logistics in a second, but hopefully this one won't take as long. So for the actual colors themselves, I'm using these ones that are from Paint Box, and then I'm using the Big Twist Value yarn. This was just some leftover yarn that I had from who even knows what project, in the shade Value Blue. These colors, this is just black. I want to say this was pale yellow, but I used it for a project, so I'm not 100% sure what that shade is called. And then I think this was just the white shade. Oh, they go by numbers. Well, that doesn't tell you much, I guess. But, yeah, they go by letters and numbers. So I guess that doesn't tell you very much. I haven't bought Paint Box yarn in a couple of years, but I do really like their yarn. I just use it for one particular project and then just never picked it back up. So this is a good way to, like, get the yarn out of my stash so I can go buy more yarn. Me just creating more problems from the problem that I already currently exist, but it's okay. Starting on the graph, I had 34 stitches that went across, plus I had to add one extra for turning, working on the chains, and then this is what it looked like going in to the second chain from the hook, just like I stated before. But this one is a little bit different on the graph because you are actually color changing right after your first single crochet. There is a bunch of color changing in the very first row, and so adding in my second color right here, I already had my slip stitch ready to go to finish off the first stitch, and making sure that I drag my yarn with it, carrying the ends so I do not have to weave those in later, and working single crochets into the chain and doing those color changes when the graph stated to do so. Here's a better visual demonstration of how I like to change my colors. So I'll do my last single crochet in what we'll call yarn 1, and then picking up yarn 2, which is the color I want to change into, to finish off the single crochet. And then I will continue to make single crochets with that color that I need for however many it is that I'm needing, but making sure that I'm going over the yarn 1 so that way I don't have to weave in those ends later on. And this is what it was starting to look like. This was what the little stars were kind of looking like. They weren't the best, but I made sure that I was weaving them in so the back didn't look like a crazy mess. Although you're gonna see very quickly that I didn't film a lot of this because I did cut off yarn and do them in little sections, which did lead to a little bit of a mess. So I've been working on it for a while now. It doesn't look like it. I'm hating the way it's turning out. The blue at first I did not like, but now it's growing on me. This star's okay, even though that little tiny dot's gonna get to me. But this is a mess. It's supposed to look like that, like one of those little tiny star things. That's not what that looks like. So what I'm gonna do is I already cut off the yarn for it because this is all that is in this section. So I'm going to go in and I'm gonna weave it over here to hopefully make it look like a better shape. Did some weaving and I just gotta cut off that tail now. I don't know. It's not that bad. I'm like, obviously right now we're looking at it up and close, but by the time that the whole graph is done and then you step back, I think it will look okay. It's just gonna be something that bothers me. So I have not been filming very much because obviously I've gotten, you know, a decent amount done. But this is why I haven't filmed much, because it is so messy doing it this way where you know, just kind of have sections of it. But I think it's the best way to go about this particular graph, just because of all like the different colors that are blocked in it. I think it's the best way to go about it. And the little block, like the little stars, they aren't horrible. Again, I mean, this was from Bracelet Book, so it was made more for like a bracelet with like string and stuff, but I really do like it. Like it's growing on me. Like, yes, this still looks a little bit crazy, and then when I go up to do that other one, it's probably also gonna look crazy, but I mean, it still looks kind of cute regardless. It kind of looks like space though, and not midnight, like a midnight sky. This is another just small example of the yarn mess that I've kind of started to create. I've cleaned some of this up and I'm still going through and cleaning it up, but we're almost done. I do have to kind of take a break very soon and start getting ready because I have to go get groceries and get other things done today, but this is gonna get done hopefully today. After now looking at it completely like done, I don't hate it. I do like the two blue colors. It's a little hard to kind of see because the lights are off. I kind of like it. I mean, yeah, sure, these little star things I think are getting to me. If I just didn't even have them and just did the moon, I think I would like it better, but it's okay. It's not bad. It still took a decent amount of time, and it's actually the next day now. So it's actually July 31st right now, and so tomorrow's August 1st, which is when I like to decorate for Halloween. So I'm gonna see today how much I can get done making some of these because I want to hang them on my wall. I would love to have them done for the 1st of August, so that way I can like hang them up with the rest of my decorations. I think it would look really cute. But yeah, second tapestry done. Now it's time for me to go back to my list of things that I want to make, and we'll see what I make next. I'm just going to use this leftover orange yarn that I have. I want to say it's Red Heart yarn just because of the way that it feels. Either that or it's Mainstays yarn, but I don't think it's Mainstays because this feels like Red Heart yarn. I'm just going to use my leftover paint box yarns that I've been using with my other tapestries. Starting with the graph, I first looked at it and went and count each box out to figure out that I needed 44 stitches plus a chain 1 for the turning chain, making a slip knot with my orange and chaining up the amount of chains that I need. This is what it looked like once again, and then going into the second chain from the hook, making a single crochet into every stitch until the end of that row. Then turning my work and working the first single crochet into the very first stitch from that last row and just doing single crochets all the way across. I decided to not do the little black sparkles in the background, so I'm just going to continue doing orange single crochets until it's time to add the ghosts. I think the best way to go about me adding in the black is going to be to do 2 separate ones, which I know I said, oh my gosh, that's so time consuming, I don't want to do that. But if you look, I don't want to carry the black through the white because then it's going to show. But then there's also the boo. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out without being too crossed through because I hate when the yarn can be seen on the right side of the project. But now we're going to go and we're going to add in the black yarn. Something I'm starting to notice is how much I really, honestly, don't really like tapestry crochet. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not horrible, but all of these different strings and stuff, I like to just work up a project really quickly. And doing tapestry crochet, you have to like obviously count the little boxes and mark it off and make sure you know where you are, and it's a lot of math going into it, which makes it hard to watch anything while I'm crocheting. I guess what I'm trying to say is I like mindless crochet, and this is very much not that, but it's not turning out horrible, so at least that's a good sign. It might look like I haven't moved, but progress is definitely being made. This is the back side, so it looks a little funky, but progress is being done. I only have like this much more left, but why is every color that I have basically running out? Because this white is connected to that skein, and I still have a decent amount to go with it, kind of. And this one I only have 2 rows, basically like 1 row and a tiny bit more. And well, this is all that's left of it, so I'm either gonna have to roll up some of it, make a little ball, and then attach it back here. I mean, that's actually the only thing I can do. I think I'm just starting to realize that tapestry crochet is just not really my thing. I'm putting up with it because I really want some cute wall decor, but in like a normal circumstance, if it wasn't for Halloween, I don't know if I would do it. Actually, never mind. I was just about to cut this and attach it over here, but then I remembered when I first unraveled this skein, I messed up and pulled from the wrong end, and so there's some extra from the opposite like way. You know how a skein works. So instead, I can just unravel a tiny bit of this to use it to make up those stitches instead of having to attach. I actually did something smart for once, so I don't have to work harder on this. This looks like a mess because it is a little bit of a mess, but it really does make me like appreciate people who do tapestry crochet. It just seems like a lot more work. It's actually the next day now, so it is August 1st. Happy August, Folklore Day, but also start of spooky season, like full commencement of spooky season for me. This one got done. I'm actually really proud of it a little bit. The back is a little questionable right here, like with the eyes. I mean, you can't tell, but I kind of just gave up with the end weaving in because I just couldn't be bothered anymore. I really like the colors together. I love black and white with orange. I think it looks really nice. Right now, these three, you can't see this, but this is purple. These are the three colors from my crochet blanket video that I just uploaded. These three were in that blanket. I'm gonna use so black and white, and then this like cookie color, because I'm gonna make the Pillsbury cookies. At first I was gonna do these ones, but I don't have an outline, so instead I'm gonna use this bracelet book pattern and just make them like this. But I found this picture of this girl who sells her patterns, which I really thought about buying this one, but she sells these, and so they're not exactly the same, but I'm going to replicate them to the best of my abilities because I want them and they look like that. Obviously we're not going to do the dowel and things like that, but I want to do the little outline like that. We're gonna get started making these cookie ones, and then I think that's gonna be the end of this video. I'm gonna start with the black cat, and I'm going to kind of copy. I mean, it's not 100% copy actually if you think about it, because one, I'm using a different pattern, but I'm also like this cat is flipped differently, so it's not made exactly the same as hers obviously, but I'm gonna kind of copy the colors. And I have come to the conclusion that if I have time and if I have enough yarn, I might try to make the tassels. I've never made tassels before, so it would definitely be a learning curve. I'm going to do the same colors, except for obviously my green is going to be like darker and my purple is obviously going to be darker too as well. But I like these colors more than those colors. It's kind of just a personal thing, and it's also just what I have. But I am going to use those same colors, and instead of doing just 2 rows before you do the cat, I'm gonna add 1 row in between each to give it some extra length. I'm also curious as to how long just one of them is gonna take, so I'm going to time myself, just 1 for some funness of it, and 2 to see how much I can actually get done. It is 4:19 right now, so I'm gonna start and try not to take any breaks and stop until I'm done with it, but we'll see how that works out. Alright, so it is complete now. I did like the carry yarn instead of crocheting over it in the back. It actually looks kind of nice. Kind of like it better this way, like not like look wise, but you can't even tell on this side, which is how it's going to be hung anyways. Very like warm, cozy, and I love it. I weaved in all my ends and everything like that, but guess how long it took? It took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to take, but I always underestimate or overestimate. I overestimate how long things are going to take. It took 1 hour and 44 minutes of pure crocheting and weaving in my ends. And this was the easy one. That's the thing that's kind of getting to me. This is the one that was like more simple because it's only like 1 color, but then you go and you look at other ones, and this one's going to have obviously more color work, and so will this one. This one's probably the second easiest, and this one will be like the hardest. They're not hard, but they just have more colors added into them. Theoretically, this one should take the least amount of time, so will I get these all done today? I'm actually not sure. So completely off camera, I made the ghost one because it was a lot going on. If you can tell, all of the color changes and stuff, it got so bad at one point. I like to weave in my ends as I go, so it's not a huge mess at the end, but some of them I just could not weave in because it was just too crazy. But I do really like it. I'm gonna weave them in here in a second. But I think it's very cute. I think it has a little bit of a different vibe than the other one. It still took a very long time. Actually now almost 9 o'clock, so I don't know if we're gonna get the third one done, but these two are very cute. But I really do want to try to get the pumpkin one done tonight. I decided I'm not gonna do tassels though because I would have plenty of yarn. I just don't really have the time because I really want to get it done tonight and get them put up and like decorated all nice and pretty and stuff. So fingers crossed I can still do that. But we'll see what happens because I really only have about a solid hour left to crochet, and I know that I'm not going to be able to crochet a whole one of these in an hour. It's just not gonna happen, but we're gonna try our very best. We're gonna speed through it and we're gonna see how fast we can do it after I weave in the ends for this one. 30 minutes of work, and this is all that I've gotten done. It's actually been more so on the 40-minute side, and compared to the graph, that's what I've gotten done. I actually decided that I was going to cut off the black sides, and instead of going in like how I did at the beginning and weaving it all the way in through, I'm just doing 2 separate strings now because it actually makes it look, one, a lot better because you can kind of see the black a little bit, and I did like 2, maybe 3 rows without dragging it, and it looks a lot better that way. It also goes by a lot quicker. So I'm hoping that's going to help speed up my process. I ended up finishing the pumpkin one. It is actually the next day now, but it is finished. So there is that for me. I honestly really like it. Like, I didn't know for sure how I felt about the black at first because it looked nice in the picture, but I also just didn't really know. But when it came to the back, I started with weaving all of it in, and I was like, that's just not working out. So I put a black ball here and a black ball here so I didn't have to carry my black yarn. And slowly as we go up, you see there's no more weaving in. Basically what I did was I ended up cutting off the like tan color about like right here because there was no point in me continuing it too. Once the eyes were done, there was no color other than on the sides, so I cut that part off, and then obviously up here I just kind of carried it, and yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle, but I was also trying to do it as quickly as possible. I think it probably still took about an hour and a half to fully complete, like all ends woven in and everything. But all together, these look really cute. I still think the first one is my favorite just because it looks like an apple pie to me. Not apple. It looks like a pumpkin pie to me, so it kind of is giving those vibes. And then I think this one's my second favorite, and then this one's my least favorite, only because green's like one of my least favorite colors. And I know you're gonna say, then why use it? It's because it's Halloween colors and because it goes really well together, and the fact that I used all the same colors yarn and they go together so perfectly. I think that these are my favorite from the video. And so yeah, that ends off this video. Finally, I feel like I've been doing this forever, even though it's not been forever. It's only been a couple days, but I really do like how they came out. All together, I'm sure they're gonna look beautiful. You guys will see the aftermath of that because I will make sure to film it either after I edit and put it in or something. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, that you will consider subscribing, commenting down below any like crochet video ideas that you guys have, because I do have some in my head, but I'm always looking for more ideas. And then if you like the video, then that way I know that you guys like this content and I'll continue to make it. But yeah, with that being said, I will see you guys all in my next video.